Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lee is dropping
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as you know, I've got a real treat. His name's Jeff Lerner. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
If you guys don't know who he is, dude's been successfully unemployed since he was like pimply. 16. 16 years old, you've been out doing it on your own.
Yeah. I had a job for 3 weeks. And
Didn't like it?
Didn't agree with me. No, it was like dysentery.
Dysentery?
Just had to flush it out as quick as I could.
Yeah. That sounds more like Norwalk.
No, wait, say what? I didn't catch that reference.
Norwalk, bro. You don't know what the Norwalk virus is?
No.
They get it on cruise ships.
No.
Yeah, everybody starts puking and shitting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dysentery vibe.
It's basically you're purging.
Yeah, that's what I needed to do after my 3 weeks of employment.
What was it?
I worked in the supply room at a law firm, which meant that, and it was it was a big law firm. They had like 5 floors.
Yeah.
And so whenever a secretary would run out of staples or paper clips or ink in her print cartridge, she would call down to our room and we would go, okay, well, I'll have paper clips for you at 10 a.m. We would load it on a cart, and every hour on the hour I would deliver office supplies to legal secretaries.
Bored? Or like, why was that so terrible?
I mean, just the fact that I was on a clock, I was location tracked. You know, it was a law office, so like there were doors you couldn't go in because they had sensitive files. And my supervisor was a guy named Bob, who was like a legitimate conspiracy nut and thought that aliens like inhabited the building, and his whole life, everywhere he looked, there were aliens. And so I was like, this guy is my boss, and he doesn't even have his own life together.
See, it was funny you say that, because that's literally about 17, I think I was, but I got a job that sucked so bad, it made me find sales. Mm-hmm. You got a job that sucked so bad, it made you find entrepreneurialism.
Yeah, well, actually, initially it made me find music. So
Jazz.
Jazz, yeah. I was a professional piano player all through my 20s. I played enough guitar when I was younger to know, like...
Dude, did that ever get you dates?
I mean, it's not all like the, you know, the stereotype. I mean, if you're a guitar player in Blink 182, then great, you'll get laid a lot.
Yeah,
if you're a jazz piano player in a tux, tucked in the corner at like a fine dining restaurant, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's not when you throw the magic around. That's when you're working. You throw the magic around when you walk into a room. Maybe you just started dating this girl. Her whole family's over. She's classy enough to have a little baby grand in the entranceway. Nobody knows you play. You just met. Nobody knows you. And you're like, oh, little Steinway. They're like, do you play? And you're like, oh, you know, I mess around.
Yeah.
And then you sit down, right? And everybody's standing around. And you just start fucking doing this Billy Joel frickin' New York frickin' State of Mind tune or something.
Yeah.
And you sing it just as good. And everybody, by the time you're done, is staring at you going, my God, man. Well, that's when you look at the girl that you came and you're like, well, you know, I did it when I was little.
Yeah, I mean...
Bam! Instant girlfriend if you wanted it.
Yeah, I've had a few of those experiences kind of, you know, sneaking up on people. But the thing is, like, music is super cool until it isn't. Like, there's a lot that goes... I'm a professional musician. What that means is I can only work a few hours a day. The pay's not that great, and it's always really inconvenient. It's not like I could have another job. It's not like I can really effectively do something else, because I'm always either having to show up 4 hours early to load in the gear for sound checks, and it just kind of dominates your whole life. Unless
you're freaking the best in the world at it.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. The best in the world, and in the right location, and the right, you know, I mean, I'm not
even the right era sometimes.
Yeah, I'm never a guy that's going to make excuses. I could have moved to LA. I could have moved to New York. I could have pursued it in a more aggressive way. But being a jazz piano player in Houston, Texas, there's a
It
ceiling.
wasn't your passion.
No, and there's a ceiling. I was 20. By the time I was 22, I had reached the same level as all of my 60-year-old contemporaries. So I could see what my life would look like in 4 decades. And it was, bad teeth. And,
Smelling like cigarettes.
yeah, just
Playing Captain Jack.
living on Captain Jack. And by then, Captain Jack would be getting me by tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. So at some point you said, dude, even this sucks. I'm limited.
Yeah.
And then you made some sort of jump at some point and you started like being freaking entrepreneurial.
Yeah, I sucked. I sucked long enough to get good at it, which I find is many people's undoing, is that they're not willing to suck long enough.
Yeah. Hey.
No, I mean it's true. As adults, we reach a point in our life where we're supposed to like have our act together. In school, when a teacher asked a question, the expectation was that most people didn't know the answer, right? And that thus you were there to learn. As adults, we're like embarrassed. Somebody says, "Well, like, how do you close that deal?" And people they fumble because they don't want to just admit, "I don't know. I need help. I want to get better, but I know I'm not there." Like adults never want to say that. And they definitely don't want to live an entire life that reflects that like every second of every day, which is what an entrepreneur's life is for years.
True. What about guitar?
Better for getting girls.
Dude, if I could play guitar well, I'd literally have one with me all the time. Not only that, I'd be looking for campfires.
Yeah.
You ever see the campfire scene where dude knows how to play the guitar?
I lived that. I mean, I was a good guitar player too.
If I could play guitar, dude, I'd be looking for campfires, walking up going, mind if I join?
So, I mean, maybe this is off track, but like you say you'd be looking for campfires. I'd like you to describe that search for me. Like, where does one go from the middle of Vegas to go, have you seen a good campfire that needs a guitar player?
Dude, in Vegas, you'd go up to Mount Charleston. You'd go to the campgrounds. You'd probably cruise to 2 or 3 at night, 2 or 3 a night. You'd just roll up to the best looking ones, if they were like, rickety and it looked like they just got done smoking meth. You just cruise on to the next campfire. Then all of a sudden you see a bunch of sweethearts in flannel shirts, hopefully not too many dudes, and you roll up and you say, mind if I join?
And then you'd wake up.
No,
go,
then you got the guitar, dude.
Right.
The guitar is your weapon.
Yeah.
You sit down and they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And all of a sudden you start freaking busting out a melody. Next thing you know, dude, the campfire is a party. I think music brings the party, and the musician, right, is responsible for the music.
We're the party bearer.
So anytime if you're a good musician, you can always liven up a party in a room and break conversation and impress people. It's impressive, musicians. No?
I mean, I am one. So
Yeah, but that's impressive, dude. Like you play piano. If I sat down at a piano, you've learned how to make those keys create music, real music, not noise. I make noise.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, if you really sit down and think about the number of mental calculations that have to happen on a real time flow to like, if you just call the tune and we're like, hey, can you play a Green Day song? You just name your favorite Green Day song, and I'm like, yeah, I can pick that out, and I do it. If you actually sit down and break down all the different little pieces of math that are happening, it is probably pretty freaky.
It is.
Yeah, but also like 10,000 hours makes freaky normal.
Yeah, but that means you have the ability to impress on command.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was
true.
I had some offsetting factors that made it not as effective as it otherwise could have been. But I mean,
yeah, dude, you didn't see it that way. You kind of went like same thing as the office thing. Like, dude, my job was hard. If I would have got your job, I'd probably still be working at that damn office. Like what you described didn't sound bad at all. It sounded boring, but like my job, which was the equivalent of your job, I had to get poked in the eye with sticks going up and down mountainsides, carrying this big ass heavy bag of water, looking for stumps in ashy, smoky air, and literally climbing through poison oak to get to where you needed to get. And they were only paying you $22 an hour, and you're going up and down a hill all day, hard as hell. Like, that's why I quit. But like, if I'd had an office job, I might not have quit. Why? Because, dude, it wasn't. I would have thought that was heaven. But see, again, it didn't matter that it was good or bad. That's someone's opinion. What mattered is you felt the same way I did with that bullshit as that bullshit. And then you went to music, you transitioned to music, and then you kind of felt the same thing, like you're limited. You're not going anywhere with it. So you said, screw this. And then you opened up a company?
Yeah, so the whole time I was a musician, I always had a very unapologetic, sort of unabashed dislike for being poor. And so as a musician, the whole time I was a musician, I tried to take advantage of my flexible schedule and spend my days starting businesses. So, I mean, I did probably like 8 or 10 different things. I tried, I mean, it's like silly. I tried starting a rave company, like to put on raves. And,
Promoter.
Yeah, like party promoter. I tried starting a booking agency where I get my other, friends who had bands but couldn't hold a reasonable conversation with the club owner and be
Marketing.
Like, oh. Yeah, I started doing marketing. I tried flipping houses on credit cards. I read Real Dad, Poor Dad before my brain had fully evolved and got kind of drunk on the idea, and tried being a loan officer for mortgages. Like I tried all this stuff and it just, I don't know, man, just didn't work.
What finally did?
Well, and then I tried to open 2007, the world was insane. And so a 28-year-old jazz musician with no business experience could go to a bank and get hundreds of thousands of dollars to open franchise restaurants. But I was also pretty good at sales because I convinced a franchisor to let me be their guy to develop the territory of Houston, Texas, which is a big market. And so I was able to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars and open these 2 stores right into the Great Recession. So 2008, I was $495,000 in debt. I had closed 2 restaurants. I had 2 real estate investment trusts suing me for 4 years left on 5-year leases. I had unpaid taxes. I just had a total shitstorm, almost $500,000 in debt. And it was so much debt that there was no reasonable option for small measures. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like if you're $4,000 in debt, you're like, oh, I'll pull some double shifts. I'll wait tables, right? When you're $500,000 in debt as a piano player at 28 years old, like you might as well just be dead. You was just like, fuck.
Yeah, but at this
financially, my life is over.
But at this point, aren't you an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, but
you're not just a piano player though.
No, I've got the marketing. I've started to get a hang on marketing and sales, so I know I have some like aptitude. But I mean, it's easy in hindsight to go, "Oh yeah, I was a budding entrepreneur." But when you're in it and you haven't made any money, and where you say entrepreneur, most people just say dreamer/loser,
looking for a job.
Yeah, then it's hard to like really sell yourself in terms of like an identity. But I knew I had some skills, and I knew that those skills were my best shot. So I went online and I started learning how to market on the internet, and I paid off $500,000 in debt in 18 months.
Because you successfully learned.
With affiliate marketing, yeah. I just learned, like, I loved the idea that you could take this one repeatable action and then scale it without like infrastructure friction, because the internet scales almost endlessly.
Yeah.
So that attracted me.
And you learned it yourself.
Yeah, I was self-taught. I mean, I did what a lot of people do or maybe don't do and assume would be a scam if they did. I went online and I clicked on one of those ads that says, learn to make money from home. And I went through the curriculum and I did it. And I actually did it. I did it like 14, 15 hours a day for a year and got really, really good.
Yeah. And that's paid you from that day forward, hasn't it?
Yeah. So then, since then, I've just been really sort of enamored with the idea of doing business on the internet. I do real estate too, but the internet just, where it's a giant source of frustration for a lot of people, it just makes sense to me. Kind of like music. Like music is super confusing to a lot of people, but to me, it all makes sense. And so I go online and I can create an offer and I can create a funnel, and I know enough about copywriting to reasonably start testing and get some conversions. And then once it works, you just scale it. Like, I don't know why anybody would want to do anything else at this point.
Yeah, me either. Me either. But the good news is you learned it yourself, didn't you? Like me,
I am a learner.
I had to hire someone that learned it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I never learned it. And up till about, I don't know, I'd say a year ago, I'm like, dude, I need to learn this. So if someone's listening to this podcast, the key is that he learned it. Because, dude, if you pay someone, because there's a bunch of people know how to do it. These guys probably know how to do it. Like, shit, nowadays, 14-year-olds know how to do it. There's so many freaking millionaire 20-year-olds now from the internet. It's unbelievable. I agree. I'd never want to do anything if I could just sit there I could wake up in the morning, set some ads, write some copy, automate basically.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's like, dude, $492 came in. Next day, $912 came in. Next day, freaking $1,988 came in, dude. Next thing you know, it's like now you're excited. Now you're spending 8 to 10 hours doing it. Next thing you know, dude, you're on a Dropping Bombs podcast.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, it's that I love that. I mean, I really want to impart to people. I mean, I built a whole company now to basically impart to people like this is real. You can do it. But also going into it, you have to realize you're going to be a statistical anomaly if you do it at a really high level, which is the only level that's really worth doing it, because that's just, I think that's the only level worth doing much of anything in this world. And so be prepared to work really, really hard, get really, really good, accept nothing less from yourself, and just realize that like most of it is psychology. It's like investing, man. Think about if you go to the bookstore and you go to the investing aisle, most of those books are about psychology. They're not about economics, right? Like, I mean, you can learn the technicals of being a trader, but it's like how to not freak your shit when your stock goes down and you should buy more instead of selling out, right? That's how internet marketing is, man. It's like people can't hack the necessary process and the learning curve. They just can't emotionally stay in it. You know, you start testing an offer and it probably is going to lose money. And then you have to optimize it, adjust it, spend more money, lose more money, optimize. And you're looking for indicators like, hey, there's some traction here, but it doesn't mean you look smart. People are so worried about appearances. They're so worried about proving to their husband or their wife, like, this is a winner, I can do this. And yeah, I know I bet some of our savings on it, but like it's all these non-business factors that end up derailing people. And it's a tragedy to me every time it happens, because there is a life on the other side of making this work that is of a quality beyond what most people can fathom. Like when you have, never mind making millions, just if you have a good amount of money coming in a way that isn't a direct trade for your time, like you're it, man. You're the
Freedom.
elite. Freedom, dude. You're the elite. And people think it's not real. Well, how do you explain you? How do you explain me? How do you explain all these people that it is real for?
Israel?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing up Israel?
Israel.
Hey, so is that the Entra Institute that you put together, that you bring people in and train them how to be basically successful? That might just be one avenue.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. I mean, we're a values-driven organization, as you know, cliche and like Vern Harnishy as that sounds.
Vern Harnish.
Yeah.
I met him a couple times.
Yeah?
That dude's a smart dude, Vern Harnish.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's a stud. I love his books. I'm reading Scaling Up right now because I'm scaling up. But, you know, what differentiates us in the market is we're not just another, hey, you're one, you know, and this isn't a shot, but you're one funnel away, or you're one high converting offer away, or you're one, you know, that's not us. I'm like, no, you're one best version of yourself away. And by the way, that could be the hardest thing you've ever done. It could take a decade. But isn't it worth it anyways? Because it's going to make your marriage better. It's going to make your health better. And it's going to give you a lot more options for how to generate income in this world. Just become a better fucking person.
You think that opportunity is going to be constricted or altered in any way come November 4th, should Biden and Kamala Harris?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah. It's Kamala.
It's not Kamala.
It's not, nope. It's not Kamala and it's not Kamala.
Kamala.
And if you say that, you're a racist, and she'll be pissed, and CNN will call you a fool like they did old Tucker Carlson.
So what is it?
He said, well, tell Kamala. He said, tell Kamala Harris, and they freaked out, and they're like, it's like comma, like a comma with a la. It's Kamala. Don't mispronounce her name, and blew his ass up all over.
Can you say Kamala Harris?
You probably could, but they'll correct you. It's Kamala Harris.
Harris is an equally, like, ethnically neutral last name. There's a lot of white dudes named Harris, you know, all kinds, right? So if you mess up Harris, is it still racist?
I don't know. I don't think saying camel is racist. I'd say that's mispronouncing a name.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
But at the end of the day, if they should win, which I highly, highly doubt it's even possible. If they won, I would have to. See, I was looking for a reason to use that.
Yeah.
But in all kidding aside, in my opinion, Joe, he's done. Okay, can't form a sentence. Kamala, she, and again, I don't do a lot of research on her, so I don't want to say too much. But the research I've done, not necessarily the person I want running the country, and that's who's going to be running the country. Mm-hmm. So when you vote Biden, you're voting Harris,
right,
folks. You're voting Kamala, who, by the way, put people in prison for fucking life over a couple of bags of weed, like not major shit. But at the end of the day, if they get elected, dude, do you think digital revenue is going to be altered drastically? Do you think people will be heading for the hills and having civil wars and ain't nobody buying your bullshit or my bullshit online? Because everybody's like literally panicked. And now what does it go to? Now it goes to the savings account, the money, the liquidity that you have available, right? Because it's freaking chaos. It's anarchy. Well, what do you think?
I still agree. I mean, first of all, it's all relative. I don't think you're going to have a disproportionate effect on online versus offline business. I just think business overall is going to suffer.
No, if I had people looting my neighborhood, I wouldn't be on Instagram and Facebook looking at your ad, and I definitely wouldn't be answering it.
Yeah,
if I was on Instagram and Facebook, I'd be looking for news or giving it.
Yeah, but
right, and I'd be looking out my window and I'd be freaking locking the cigs down. Boom, boom, boom. I wouldn't be worried about freaking entrepreneurial training. I wouldn't be worried about sales training. I wouldn't be worried about dick. I wouldn't be making a funnel either, unless, of course, they were still working. And that's my question. Do you think all that shit will disrupt what you've built?
I mean, I'd still, I don't have a crystal ball, and what I've gotten really good at in 2020 is blocking out all of the bullshit in the world that I can't control anyways. And that's why I've scaled my business 1,700% in the last 6 months.
That's right.
While the rest of the world was like, worrying about whatever they're worried about, what matters, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm just growing my business and doing my thing. And if all hell breaks loose, I'd still rather have an online business than an offline business with a bunch of overhead.
100%. I agree with you 1,000%, dude. I had a buddy of mine growing up. His name was Troy. His dad loaned him a little money to buy the local, weight place, gym. Mm-hmm. We'd all go work out there. Next thing you know, our buddy Troy owns it. He turned that shit into like 17, different locations. Entrepreneured his ass off way before I even thought about it. Shit, now I've lost my train of thought. You said something a minute ago, and I was like, that's exactly what happened there. What'd you say?
I said that if all hell breaks loose, I'd still rather have a digital business and low overhead.
Yeah. So he started this brick and mortar gym business. Well, I started this business. And now he's like, I'm tired of this brick and mortar shit. You got liabilities, you got all kinds of shit. Like all internet-based business, I think, is by far the better business. Look at what's happening to all these freaking brick and mortars. JCPenney's getting negotiated to be purchased by Amazon so they can gut their stores and use them as retail holding centers.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean,
like, dude, that's what's happening to brick and mortar.
Yeah,
like, folks, you better get into freaking, what do you call it? Storage. Like, those big storage.
Yeah.
That's what you better get into.
Pure One Imports, Linens and Things, Dress Barn. They all just got bought by a couple internet marketers.
Yeah, Ty Lopez.
Yeah, and Alex Mayer, right?
Yep. And dude, Ty, I brought him up the other day on a podcast. That dude's smart as shit, dude. That was calculated what he did.
He's so smart, man.
That was calculated.
He's smart enough to strategically look dumb and not care.
Yeah. Oh no. I said a whole thing about it the other day. It's like, dude, Ty's smart, dude. So is that Alex, dude.
Yeah.
But see, Alex got a big lick when he sold an app. So once you have $300 million, guess what? You don't have to be a genius anymore.
Right.
You just can't be a dumbass.
Yeah, but I had Alex on Millionaire Secrets maybe 6 weeks ago, and he may not have to be a genius, but he is.
No. Alex is.
He was the number 2 rated physics student in high school in the world.
Oh yeah, he's a smart son of a bitch. But once you get 300 million, you don't have to be a smart son of a bitch anymore. You just can't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
You know, if an average intelligent guy with $300 million tried, they'll never go broke again. Mm-hmm. And they could end up billionaires.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, 3x your money in 20 years is not like that hard.
So the kind of core of the growth was the marketing part, which is interesting because when people DM me, I am 20 years old in college. What should I do? Drop out? I say, dude, listen, I'd finish because you started it, and that's what I teach. Finish what the fuck you start. But you're not gonna get any gain from that diploma more than likely. Mm-hmm. So make your own decision. However, I would finish what I start, so I'd finish college, and while I was finishing college, shoot, I'd be studying exactly what you went and studied. Even today, this was how long ago for you?
This was 2008.
Yeah, dude. And it's still not too late for that exact path to be taken.
No, here's the thing, man. People are so one of the values of Antra is that we favor possibility over probability. And I think so much of the world starts with the supposition that like they're going to kind of be the blend of everyone else. And so they should go study or learn up on what's happened for everyone else and that's somehow like determinant of their outcome. Like, it's never going to pay well to suck, and most people do. So start from the position of like, I'm going to be a lot better than most people. And then all the concerns about like, well, am I in the right industry, or did I get the right diploma, or am I selling the right product, or am I focusing my time the right way? It's like, just be a lot better than everyone else. And like, you have a lot more mobility to like try different things because people want you because you're good. And also, the top of every industry does well, pretty much. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I mean, within that, digital marketing, like, you know, the community I joined in 2008, it had 40,000 members. And I looked at the earnings of the top, because they post their results, right? It's like these affiliate marketing, rah-rah, you know, training communities, and there's a leaderboard, and I looked at the numbers, and I said, okay, well, and I didn't know they had 40,000 members. I just knew they had a lot, because they didn't publish that. But I was like, okay, well, I got to pay off $500,000 in debt faster than what it's going to take the IRS and the state of Texas Workforce Commission and these lawsuits and all this stuff to completely tank my life. How much runway do I have? And I came up with like, well, I need to be making significant inroads in a year, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I looked at the leaderboard and I said, I got to be top 5 in this community. So in a community of 40,000 people, I looked and I said, my only lifeline here is to be in the top 5. So, I didn't know how many there were, but I knew there were a lot. I knew there were thousands of members. So when you look at something and you go, okay, my only option is to be in the top 5 out of, you know, much less than top 1%, and you just start there, people think I have this amazing story. I mean, I have a story that's a natural consequence of starting with the decision that I'm going to be in the top 1%.
Ultimately, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
But you also had the skill and the intelligence. It wasn't just the decision.
I mean, yeah, but that's so overrated, man. I had the
skill and intelligence is overrated?
Well, first of all, I didn't have the skill. I acquired the skill.
Well, you got the skill.
And I worked my ass off. Like, I just
That's a
don't
factor,
think
though.
people get it, how much work it is to be good.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a decision is my point.
No, I mean, it was...
Because a lot of times people say, man, you got to make the decision. That's all you got to do. No, that's where it starts. But that's not all you got to do. You make the decision is where it begins. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you know, people worry about. I think Tony Robbins says something like, people are so worried about making the right decision. Just make the decision and then make it right with your follow-up.
Does Tony say that? I'll be damned.
He's
That's
like him and Einstein are the two that, like, when we don't really know who said something, we just attribute it. Maybe Lincoln too.
I like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. But for me, it was so freeing. People think, people would imagine being in that much debt as a prison. It was liberation for me because it removed all the mediocre options.
So looking back, do you believe there were things you could have done that would have collapsed time and made things quicker?
You mean from when I ended up at rock bottom and I had to kind of dig out?
No, when you started, you said, my only lifeline's I got to be really good at this.
Yeah.
So you made the decision to be really good at this. Then you became really good at this, like your decision dictated.
Yeah, I can tell you what would have compressed a lot of time, and it's the mistake that I'm not making this time around. Because I have right now with Antra, I have a company that has the built-in, it has the intrinsic ability to, scale really fast, like hypergrowth. And what I realized is what I was doing 11 or 12 years ago had that same ability, but it didn't. I throttled it because of my own reticence. And I mean, you want to be very cautious making sure a thing is the right thing and that it works. But once it works, you got to go. It's the thing Alex Mayer said to me when he was on my show 6 weeks ago. And he was talking about, how he scaled Zeus to, whatever, $300 million valuation in less than 2 years. He's like, when you check all the boxes, at the end of the day, what ends up sabotaging hypergrowth potential or just massive growth potential is people's thermostat for the expenditure, the output, whether it's financial, energetically, time, putting relationships on holds. Hey, babe, I'll be back in 3 months. I got to do this. I have a one-shot, opportunity. People's their thermostat for what they can tolerate in terms of output doesn't rise as fast as their potential input or their potential earnings. So take a company like I have now, or like I guess technically I had back then. It's like if you make 20 grand in a month and you look at all the numbers, you go, I could make 40 grand next month. But to do that, I have to spend this entire 20 grand. Well, man, I've been starving and living off ramen for the last 2 years. I don't want to. I just got 20 grand. I don't want to spend it all. Surely I can keep 10 of it. Well, as soon as you do that, you cut your growth off at the knees. It's like every month when you have a really good thing, you're actually outputting probably even more than the entirety of what you brought in the previous month. And that is terrifying for people. It's disorienting. You're climbing. It's like you get the bends because you're ascending too fast. And that's what I fucked up in 2009. That could have been the one. That could have been the thing that set me for life. But I governed it too much because I didn't understand what growth really takes.
And now you've learned it. So now is it exploding?
Yeah, I mean, we've scaled 1,700% in the last less than 6 months.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
And every month I spend pretty close to the entirety of what I made the previous month just on ads.
Well, that's because you're scaling it.
Yeah, and it takes balls or wisdom.
Or
wisdom that you've acquired, and maybe it's the wisdom to grow balls. But
well, not only that, but there's a specific way to advertise, buy media on Facebook. It's not just anyone can do it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is it takes a great team of really, you reach a level where, and this again, the value of being good. People, what's the secret? What's the secret? How do you do it? Just be like ridiculously good at your shit. And then the right people will want to work with you. The right people will want to even take a chance on you, even when you can't afford to pay them. I mean, the company I'm doing right now, I have a 10-year track record of being really good, even if I wasn't like a known name. I didn't make gazillions of dollars. People that know me know that I'm really good, which means 2 years ago when I started doing this thing, I had a lot of people chipping in going, I know the payoff is going to come because this guy's good. There's just no substitute for that. Everybody's trying to shortcut the part where you just have to get really good and it takes what it takes.
Well, speaking of shortcuts, you've got Millionaire Shortcut as a book.
Yeah, which is ironic because I'm sitting here dogging on shortcuts. And
yeah, because I always say to people, hey, are there any such thing as shortcuts? Because our traditional tutelage is no.
Right.
There's no such thing as shortcuts. Shortcuts are bad. You shouldn't take shortcuts. I preach the opposite. I don't know what Millionaire Shortcuts is about, but I'll bet you it's the same thing I preach, which is, dude, there are ways to like avoid time and delay by just taking a shortcut. And the shortcuts do exist. Like if I wanted to go market and start a business like yours right now, a shortcut would be to hire you to show me exactly how to do it. Or I could take the long route. The long route is I go figure it out like you did. And guess what? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. We'll see. But that's the long way. The shortcut is, dude, what did you do? Here, I'll pay you. I'll give you half of it. Like, show me what you did.
Yeah, and you're intuitively nailing the shortcut. The shortcut is just find someone who's gotten the result that you want and do everything you can possibly do to get in their world and decipher what they've done. I look at it as like solving a crime. Like you walk into a room, there's like, blood spatter here and here. Well, you could like run every scenario of like, well, where was the object and where was the person and how were they struck and all this, or you could just actually look at the clues and be like, well, there's blood spatter here and here, so I'm guessing the object came from this direction and hit them that way. That's not cheating. That's just reading the clues to solve the problem, right?
Yeah.
So-
Or making assumptions, which again, I also preach. You should make assumptions.
Totally. Yeah, it's nonsense.
People, you guys are youngins. Were you ever told not to make assumptions?
And what does an assume do?
Everybody says you make an ass out of you and me. Don't make assumptions. But I found times where you absolutely should make assumptions. Like, for example, people always ask me, how do I bring you value? And I say, well, you can make some assumptions, because by the time I'm done telling you how to be valuable to me, I just gave you value before you gave me any. Right. Motherfucker, you just put me to work. Telling you how to make it become valuable to me is a value, isn't it? Like, for me to tell you how to be valuable to me is a value to you.
Totally.
How about make some damn assumptions? Here, I can make some assumptions about you, Jeff. Could I assume that you want more money? Could I assume you want more time? Could I assume you want less friction? Okay, those are some assumptions I can make and I should make. So then I go, okay, knowing that, and then I do my research without even bothering you, without asking you one question. And then I come to you and I say, Jeff, check this out. Boom. And I doubled your fucking income. I don't have to ask, how do I be valuable to you? I would just be valuable to you. And then all of a sudden, me and you are now doing business. Next thing you know, boom, we're all making 10 times more money. I think that's the whole idea of networking.
Yeah, and people will appreciate that you took the initiative than just sat flat-footed waiting for direction. Yeah. That's the other thing about successful
Not
people.
making
Even if you make
assumptions.
assumptions and the wrong assumptions, they still appreciate that you're an action taker.
Yeah. So why do we get taught not to make assumptions?
I don't know. I mean, who teaches us most things that we get taught?
Our parents and
Yeah,
society.
yeah, and parents is a pretty wide swath, but in general.
Well, nowadays, mainstream media.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you got the media, you got your parents, and you got teachers.
Teachers.
And I mean, the average parent, meh. The average teacher, meh. I mean, today's the first day of school. I got teenagers just went back to school and all their friends. I'm on a Snapchat thread. I see the pictures. They're like, this fucking blows, man. All this mask shit. These people suck. These people like people hate school. Why? Because the people that run schools are like red tape, bureaucratic, low enthusiasm people. And I know that.
Low frequency, let's say.
Low frequency. That's a great way to say it. Yeah. And so.
That's why my kids, I haven't sent them to school. I hired a teacher to come to my house and teach them.
Dude, I've thought about doing
And by the
that.
way, it's cheaper than their school.
You still got to pay property taxes though, right?
What are you talking about? For what?
Does it fund the schools? I don't know how Nevada works. I know where I live.
I don't know about all that. Taxes go. They go to a private school.
Okay, I got you.
And there's two of them, $1,800 a pop, $3,600.
See, they don't really have.
And they force them to wear masks, and they go learn whatever the fuck they learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just got one of the teachers that lost their job and said, why don't you just come to my house? So you don't have to wear a mask either.
Dude, I've thought
Just
about
come
doing
over
that.
and teach my two children, and everybody's cool. And then now I got friends going, dude, can I send little Johnny over? And I say, no. And they say, why? And I say, well, little Johnny's got a penis. These are my two little girls. There's no Johnny's over, but you can bring over Susie, I guess. You know, there you go. I'm joking. So my friend's bringing over their little kids, and I'm joking about the Johnny, but thought it'd be funny. I protect my little girls, dude. I can't. If they start dating, like the 7-year-old's already starting to get boy crazy. I'm like, oh no, that ain't happening, dude. I'll be a dick. I'll be a freaking asshole. It ain't happening. But anyway, I hired a teacher so I could avoid that shit right there.
I've literally considered doing that. Do you know a guy here locally? His name's Wayne Root.
Yeah, Wayne Allen.
Wayne Allen, yeah. So he's an old friend of our family from some old
Wayne Allen
marketing
Root.
connections, and he does the same school or same thing. He homeschooled. He paid a teacher.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And
dude.
I'm like, ever since he told me that, I'm
One-on-one.
like, dude, I need to do that. Especially where I live.
Where do you live?
I live in St. George, Utah.
Oh, that ain't bad.
and
You guys are up there half mass, half no mass, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty chill.
Are you Mormon?
Culturally? No, I'm not Mormon, and that's the thing. All the private schools there are basically like churchy kind of, and whatever. I don't want to. I mean, I live there. I don't want to say too much, but
Well, you know, you just
not
don't.
my cup of tea.
Well, you're just not. You just don't believe. That's
No.
all.
It's like having a job. It's not my thing.
Hey, you know what you're doing? You're questioning the narrative.
Don't do that.
And by the way, that in my opinion, when I start to see the various friends of mine that are successful, the people that I like am connected with through this platform, you know, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, Grant Cardone, Damon John, Tony Robbins, like successful name brand companies, World Series of Poker, UFC, they all display the same trait. You know what I mean?
Anti-establishment.
No, they question the narrative. Like they ask, they seek. Like the Bible says, seek and ye shall find, right? But most people don't seek, especially when you go to church. The preacher tells you what the story is and you say, okay. That's not seeking. That's following. You told me this is what happened and I go, oh, praise Jesus. Well, that's not seeking. That's listening and following, right? Seeking is to question. Seeking is to look for and validate, right? And I just noticed that all the successful people I know all have that fucking trait. They all question the narrative. So you question the Mormon narrative, big deal. No one's going to hate you in Utah. There's other people up there that besides Mormon, obviously. My brother's Mormon. He says I should be Mormon. I don't think I should be Mormon. Maybe I'm wrong. You know when we'll find out? When we die, and then it's too late. And by the way, if we are Mormon, and it is true, and I should be, and I should believe, because I'm wrong if I don't, well, then my brother is, and they believe that he can go to the temple and seal me forever. So I'm safe either way, brother. I got a Mormon on my side.
The get out of jail free doctrine is interesting.
Dude, I got a Mormon on my side, so I'm covered with Mormonism. Okay? Catholicism, looked into that one. That one's kind of scary. You know, I'm still seeking, let's just say. I know that there's a higher being, but I don't necessarily know that they're Mormon or Jewish or Muslim or anything. But anyway, now we're getting way off track.
Yeah, how did we end up here?
Just religion.
Yeah.
But
speaking of dropping bombs,
yeah,
a lot of that happens in the name of religion.
Sure does. So ultimately, though, if I'm listening to this podcast, I'm thinking, dude, what does this guy do? He did this, he did this, he did. What this guy does, folks, is he basically kicked ass himself, found his own way, realized how badass it is to be financially free because you generate recurring revenue with very little effort and friction. And then he started saying, dude, I gotta freaking teach other people how to live and succeed and become free. Yeah. Which is Entra Institute.
Yeah. Amen. And you know, to be a curative force on an internet that is, you know, plagued with, I don't know if it's deception or just confusion, but like there's just so much shit making people think that it's like, here's the fundamental. Sorry, let me interrupt myself. This is the fundamental fallacy of all digital marketing education, is that the more you invest in the education, the easier it'll get. That's every company set up that way. Every education company, every, you know, digital guru, whatever. They're all like, oh yeah, buy my elite premium mastermind platinum diamond extravaganza package with the 7-day cruise or whatever, and it'll
plus one-on-one consulting.
Yeah, we will make it so easy.
You get my cell phone.
You get my cell number. You get my traffic sources, my highest converting funnels, my best ad copy, all my stuff. And if you just spend, and if you want it to be even better, spend even more. And it's like, that is not how education works. You don't show up at Harvard and they go, well, listen, man, this is the bachelor program, but like if you go for an extra $100,000, you're going to get the PhD and we're going to do all the work for you. That's not education. That's a scam. That's bullshit. So at Antra, we're like, hey man, don't wish it were easy. You know, Jim Rohn said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. And a lot of times the way to get better is to invest more of yourself in every currency, more time, more money, more energy, more commitment, more focus, more exclusions from the rest of the stuff in your life that distracts you and doesn't lead you to your goals. Do more, and bring more to the table yourself. And on the other side of it can be the life you want.
Is this what you do on the Millionaire Secrets podcast? Is it you just drop nuggets on how to do success?
Yeah, I bring in other people. You know, belief is the greatest obstacle for most people in most things. And so I feel like they can only hear it from me so many times. So on Millionaire Secrets, I go out, and this is the thing, these people aren't hard to find. You're not hard to find. I go out and I find really, really successful people that started by getting their eye poked in the forest fighting fires, or getting their ass kicked on an assembly line, or having to raise themselves in the streets or whatever. There's no shortage of amazing hero's journey stories of really successful people. I bring them on Millionaire Secrets to share what it really takes. And what you find is it's actually a very small set of things that it really takes. It's ridiculous drive, it's discipline, it's belief, it's confidence, it's enthusiasm, it's like unsuppressible empathy. Totally. Yeah. Good with people. For me, that's another thing I talk about a lot. My breakout in this world, when I went from modestly successful I started an agency, and we did about $30 million in sales. And I was on the Inc. 5000 a couple times, and I sold it, as you mentioned. That was my first taste of like enough success where people would be like, oh, this guy's successful, right? It was because I started going to therapy. It's because I got married and I was fighting with my wife, and we were a blended family. They weren't my kids, and I was trying to integrate and be like this new dad figure, and I was just way over my head emotionally and in terms of like human connection, and I felt super uncomfortable, and all this insecurity and emotional baggage was coming up every day, and I was like freaking crying first thing in the morning, and I started going to therapy, and I actually learned how to give a shit about people. And all the really drastic results I've had in my life have come since then. So I talk about physical, personal, and professional excellence. The 3 Ps of excellence is kind of the pillar of our platform. And so physical is like
you've got it all codified.
Yeah, we kind of, that's my idea. Is like, people need like mnemonics and easy nuggets they can refer back to when like life is hectic. They're like, oh wait, I gotta remember my 3 Ps. I need to stay balanced. Or, oh man, I'm being short-sighted. What are the 3 phases of legacy? Okay.
Is any of it online?
Oh, it's all online. Yeah.
It's all a course.
Yeah, we have a $39 course called the Antra Blueprint.
What system are you using? Kajabi or something?
No, we built our own. Yeah, so I have a deep appreciation for what you do here, because I built one too.
I'd like to see what you built.
Yeah, I'd like to see what you built.
I'd love to show you what we built. You'd probably throw away what you built, but maybe not. Maybe not. You're a smart one. Maybe yours is better than mine. I'll throw away mine. But that's what we do, man. We show people how to. Normally, people don't build their own. They'll go jump on a Teachable or Kajabi, and they'll put a video and a price tag. And folks, let me tell you something. It goes beyond that. A video in a storage software is not training, right? That's exposing. Training requires good content, which you have regardless on anybody's system, but then repetition, practice, and accountability. If you're not delivering that on demand, track, measure, monitor, all of it, you're not really training people. You're just kind of exposing them to information, right?
Yeah, and also, just because you have good training doesn't mean you have a good business. A good business means you got to have good marketing, good sales.
Good margins.
Yeah, to have one system. The reason we built our own is because to have a learning management system, a sales pipeline management tool, because we have hands-on advisors that move people through levels of courses and coaching and stuff. An affiliate program, because we have a free affiliate program where we can bring on people that, where we need to create marketing funnels. And
nice. Do you have services to, kind of blend into those other ones?
Like creative services that we sell, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I this is maybe a bad thing to say. I don't like clients.
You just like the revenue.
I like students. I like people that come and say, I want to grow my life. What can I learn? Not what can you do for me? What service can I trade you money for?
So financial is only one aspect.
I mean, I had an agency.
But if I'm at the Entra Institute, I'm learning more than just how to make money. I'm learning how to develop to a better person.
Yeah, 100%. 3 Ps of excellence. And nice. Excellence is the non-negotiable standard, man. There's no success without it.
Well, folks, if you're smart, you might go check this dude out. By the way, Jeff Lerner Official, right, on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
You can Google him. He's all over the old Google. Millionaire Secrets. And by the way, I appreciate you doing this, but folks in the bomb squad, you want something free? You want a little taste? What's the taste? What is this? MillionaireSecrets.com/Brad L. Folks, listen what it is. Then go get it if you like what the dude's saying, which I already know you do because I know the audience. So are they getting secrets? What are they getting? The shortcut book? What are they getting?
They go to MillionaireSecrets.com. They /Brad L.
Yep.
then
I want to make sure I get tracked. Why? I want to see if I have any influence. I told someone the other day, I think I have the influence of a pickle.
well, I mean,
But people come on this podcast and they'll text me later and they'll be like, son of a bitch, dude. And I'll be like, what? And they'll be like, you got some loyal fans. I said, what makes you say that? And they're like, dude, the podcast dropped and my shit blew up. I'm like, really? Interesting. And compared to what though? Right. And well, we've been on this one and this one, and like, that shit really doesn't happen. And I'm always thinking, like, how many subscribers do I have? How many people listen to it? You ever heard it? Have you heard it? Okay, see, so what I'm saying, like, how many people are going to hear this shit?
You're a big deal, man.
No, I'm not. No.
Don't sell yourself short, man.
Hey, the podcast is the one getting the bigger reach. Instagram, has got a few followers. But when I say go to Brad L, I want to see the impact. I want to see, like, if you call me and be like, dude, 18 people did it.
That's why we do it.
I'm going to go, see what I mean? Fucking pickle. But, like, if you go, holy shit, dude, 180,000 people just downloaded that book. Okay, now I would say, okay, I'm getting there. That's influence. Wouldn't you agree?
That's influence.
Influence isn't 18.
Yeah, and influence isn't a follower count. Let's just say that.
To me, influence means that you can get people to do something.
Yes.
So
it's behavioral impact.
Yeah. So if I'm telling all these listeners, hey, go to millionairesecrets.com/Brad L. Get this book, listen to this dude's story, and learn some shit that'll make you money. And 18 people do it. And you'll be able to see who did it because of the /Brad L, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, folks, don't dick me.
Yeah.
Don't make me look stupid, kids. I'm doing this for you free. Okay? Don't make me look stupid. Go do it anyway. Go do it even if you don't like the book or want the book. Do it if you're already a millionaire. But just do it. And then not only that, share this shit out because someone else that hears it, because you shared it, might frickin', hear something and take that nugget home.
And remember, for every person in your life that's told you that they're worried about money or they're worried about their job or they're having some kind of challenge, there's like 10 more that haven't said anything. So share it.
Do your part, kids. As always, till next time, keep it real.